All right, to all TM Warrior fans and surrounding areas, football season just around the corner. And this year, we're going to be talking Tuloso-Midway Warrior football. And on the screen, I have the head man here, the head coach for the Warriors, and that's Coach James Villarreal. Coach, how you doing this evening? Or I'm sorry,
I'm
afternoon.
I'm doing good, man. I appreciate you having, me on this podcast and showcasing, Warrior football and all our amazing things going on over here at Tuloso Midway.
Absolutely, Coach. Wanted to go out there and of course, what we do here on the Gridiron is just kind of promote the players. And so I'm excited about having you on every Wednesday throughout the football season to talk TM Warrior football and also, talk about the players' performance and their stats. Also, Coach will recap prior games, preview upcoming games, get his thoughts, and then also we're also talking about the other levels of football as well and what's going on with them. So a lot to really talk about. We want the podcast to last at least about 30 minutes. Sometimes they will, sometimes they might go a little longer, sometimes shorter, just depending on how much time coach has. But again, coach, we'll start off here with the first question. And I know this is your first year. I know you've been around coaching for quite some time, but this is your first year, I believe, as the head coach there at Tuloso Midway. So kind of introduce yourself, where you from, how long have you been coaching football?
Yeah, so originally, I'm from Sinton, Texas. So I'm a Coastal Bend boy, born and raised. And then I've been coaching for about 13 years now. Most recently, I was over at a Veterans Memorial for about 5 years, and had an amazing time there, with Coach Semper and Coach Bittner. And so then I came over to Tuloso Midway last year as the defensive coordinator for Coach O'Neill. And then whenever we made the transition to head football coach, and ultimately now it's been, Coach O'Neill moved back to Houston, be closer to family. So now, they've given me the interim AD role. So I've been around a couple of South Texas programs, coached under probably my mentors, Coach Mitchell, and I even Coach Davis. I played for Coach Brent Davis, and I played for Coach Mitchell and then coached for Coach Mitchell over in Beeville for about 3 years. So I've been around here and I really enjoy the Coastal Bend. This is where home is. I've also coached up in San Antonio, but ultimately moved back here because this is just, I think it's some of the best football in Texas and just best atmospheres as far as high school football.
Yeah, coach, and we're lucky to have you here in this area. We like to keep our coaches down here. So all these coaches that can stay, we want to keep them here. We don't want them to go up north or anywhere else like that. So any coaches we can
Yeah.
keep here, man, it's great. It's great for our kids and our program as well as we move forward. Coach, introduce your staff for 2024. I don't know if you got some new guys this year, but if you could just tell us who they are, who's on staff, and their responsibilities.
Yeah. So I'll just start with my coordinators. Coach Keith Talbert, he's our offensive coordinator. And we really didn't have any turnover in our staff other than we had one coach leave for just another guy out of teaching completely, private sector job. So which is really awesome. I think what I've done a good job of, and then Coach O'Neill too, was, I was an assistant for a really long time, so I kind of really know what assistants want and their needs, and kind of to help them stay in a program and not, want to jump ship and be happy somewhere. And I want to make my coaches happy. And I think where coaches are happy, they're going to work harder for you. I mean, it goes for kids, but also coaches, So Coach Talbert's our offensive coordinator. And he does a really, really good job. He's also our head track coach. Did an amazing job last year with our track program. We won the first district track meet, I think, in the history of the school. There might be somewhere down the line, I'm sure somebody, Tuloso Midway alum will jump on and say a year they won it. It's just hard to tell. At least been 30 years or more, which is, I mean, amazing for our kids and just the kind of work they put in during track. And he's kind of our speed training guy, and he does an awesome job with that. Our defensive coordinator this year will be Coach Chuy Vela. Obviously working really close with me, he's kind of me when I'm not around, but me and him work together on game planning. And, actually I'll still be calling on Friday nights. I can't take myself away from doing that yet. I love calling defense. It's probably one of the only reasons I'm still coaching is just because that this being able to, go out there and beat somebody defensively is just the competitive nature in me. I can't give it up. So I'll be still doing that this year, but he's going to be kind of my right-hand man. He was with me. He came over from Vets with me last year and coaches our secondary. Our defensive line coach, Coach Woods, been around for a long time. He also actually coached with Brent Davis over in Alice. He does an awesome job, and to be my D-line coach is tough because that's kind of my bread and butter and what I was brought up doing, and being a D-line guy. So, but me and him speak the same language. I still work very closely with the D-line daily. So, and he allows me to, and we work well together. Our linebackers Coach Martinez. He's also our strength and conditioning coordinator. New position I opened up this year for our entire district, and he does an amazing job with our weight room. He helped me a lot with off season last year. So, and then we have also Coach Michael Cantu. He's coached our strong safeties. Going over to the offensive staff, we have quite a bit. We have Coach Kyle, who coaches our O-line. He's also equipment manager. Does probably the best equipment manager I've ever been around. Very organized, and he does an amazing job of that. Really good O-line guy. And then we have our 2 wide receiver coaches, Coach Hunter Wetzel, Coach Brandon Gonzalez. Coach Wetzel's actually a Cat Island grad. He's been at TM before too, coaching. They've done a really good job this year, both transitioning kind of from another position and really taking over. We have like an outside receivers and an inside receivers coach. And then Coach Gonzalez also coaches our Ys, our H-backs that we put in the backfield. Coach Aaron Rodriguez is a new one. He's a Sinton kid. He grew up actually with my little brothers, that all played in Sinton together. Those Tom Allen teams are really good. And he's coming his first year ever coaching. He'll be coaching our running backs. And then Coach Mateo Gonzalez is coming over from Mathis. Him and Coach Talbert worked previously together. He was kind of the hire that Coach Talbert told me he had to have, and he's coaching our O-line, and he's been, just from day one, our O-line has just grown so much from last year, with him kind of running the O-line over there, and then he does an amazing job. And I think that's everybody. I hope I didn't leave anybody off. If I did, I'm sorry, but I think I went through pretty much everybody there. If I didn't, I'll remember and I'll bring them up. But I'm just very blessed, man. Like I said, I told the caller times, like I'll kind of have an advantage as being a new coach is because I was already here and I worked with these guys and they worked with me and we worked very closely together. And so I was kind of boots on the ground with them. And then it's just like now I'm just in charge of everything versus just being in charge of the defense. That's really the only difference it's been. So I'm blessed with a really good coaching staff. They're a lot of young guys, a couple of older guys, but mostly young guys that are fiery. I think a lot of them want to be coordinators, is what you want in a staff. And so they tell them to do something once, and they usually do it, and they fix whatever they're not doing right. And so I'm just very blessed. We all get along too, and that's really important, with a staff, and the kids all like them. I think we're all, get along with our kids. And so I think that's important to have that chemistry,
Absolutely, Coach. And glad to hear that there's some chemistry there already. And like you said, you were there with them on the ground. Now they know what you expect. And so hopefully that'll just fall all into place as the up season will start here in a couple of weeks. Actually, you guys got a scrimmage here on Friday, and we'll talk about that. Coach, I want to go to the offensive side of the ball, and we'll be talking defense and linemen as the season progresses. But tonight, there were 2 players that really stood out to me that I think did a really good job last year. So I want to talk about them. And first is your quarterback. And I hope I say his name right, Braycen Beazell.
Beazell, I believe.
Okay. Beazell.
Braycen
Okay.
Beazell, yeah.
Bryson.
We call him BB.
All right.
BB.
That's easier for me. I'll call him BB, the quarterback.
Yeah.
Coach, I looked at his stats, and he did really good last year. I mean, you guys were run heavy, but if you look at his numbers, about 1,200 yards passing plus, I think it was. Not a lot of people talking about it, but to me, it stood out to him because the offense, I think, last year for Tuloso-Midway was a lot of run. But this guy collided up. He's got some skills. Talk a little bit about him, and what is your expectation, knowing that what you saw him do last year? What is the expectation for him coming into this year?
I think with talking about Braycen, I think the biggest thing that I've seen from him grow is just being a leader. I don't think he was a leader. I think he, as a sophomore, kind of was the backup quarterback, and then last year taking over as he's kind of the first year, at the helm. I think he kind of, he didn't know how to lead. I think he was just trying to survive, the season and try to score points. And, we also had a really good running back, last year. So he kind of relied on him a lot. And Braycen can really run. We didn't really run him much and use that aspect, but we're looking to do that a lot this year. He's beefed up a lot. He got in the off season. He's gotten a lot bigger, a lot thicker, and so we're going to be looking to run him. We can't be scared to run our quarterback. And then as a defensive guy, I'm always kind of in the offensive now that I can. I'm kind of in the offensive guys' ears, and I'm telling them this is what hurts. This is what hurts me. This is what I don't like to see. We're going to do that, So as defensive coordinators, do I want to run the offense? No, I don't. I love defense, and I'll stick with defense. But I can tell you what I don't like to see. And so that's the kind of stuff that we're going to kind of change to where and have all the, we're going to have all the, imagination that Coach Talbot wants and Braycen wants. But I just think, man, he's grown so much as a leader. You have to have your quarterback pulling kids up to go throw, all summer long, and really good quarterbacks, they do that. They're practicing year round. It's a very, physically demanding position as well as mentally demanding. It's probably one of the hardest things you ever stand back there when D linemen are coming at you and having to make split decisions. It's tough, and I think that's what I'm most excited about is just the leadership that he's shown. And so I think last year we didn't have as many skill kids around him to help him throw the ball around. As not sure-handed guys. I mean, there could be. We're very young in the skill position, and we're still young. Right now we might have one senior, receiver that's fighting for the mix. Obviously, there's no position set in stone yet, but we got some sophomores and juniors that are going to be really good skill guys for him, and I think that to me is exciting to finally have those skill guys that he needs. Along with a really good running game. You want to pack the box, then we'll try to hurt you with our skill guys too. So that's what I'm excited about.
And Coach, I saw, and on the next podcast, we'll talk about those receivers. I saw that freshman receiver that you have out there and some of the numbers that he had, and another one too. So they were young last year. I was looking to see a lot from them this year. So I know what you're talking about, the receivers, because I spent some time there looking at the whole roster last year and what they were doing. So there are some young receivers that I think are going to develop. I thought they did good last year, and I think are going to get better this year. When you talk about the offense, though, at Tuloso-Midway, you talk about probably the best running back coming up this year in the Coastal Bend, probably South Texas, and Damian Figueroa. I mean, this kid was just lights out, Coach. I mean, when you look at the stats from these guys, Damian played 11 games, 193 carries, 1,484 yards. He had 9 times he had carries over the 100-yard mark, and then 15 TDs. When you talk about Braycen, I was telling them 1,207 yards, 16 TDs, 3 interceptions. Pretty good for a quarterback.
Yeah.
That you said doesn't really have the skill players yet developed around him. But when you talk about Figueroa, just an amazing kid. I've seen him. He's big, powerful, smart runner. What's your expectation? We saw what he did as a sophomore, very scary. Going into his junior year, what is your expectations of what this running back can do for you and your program this upcoming year?
Yeah, I mean, Damian's been awesome for us. Everybody kind of knows him. He's kind of the figurehead, because I think he is one of the better running backs in all of South Texas. You look at the other top running backs, they also have had really good offenses as far as receiver. They had really good quarterbacks. They had probably some of the best receivers. So obviously when that happens, you're going to have those running lanes that open up a lot easier. And if you really watch our film, if I was the defensive guy going against us last year, it's stop him. I'm going to pack the box and stop him. And it just kind of says a lot about our O-line. And we got a lot of our O-linemen back. And Damian, he's just a tough runner. You don't see that a lot nowadays. He's kind of old school in that way. Almost at the beginning of the season, we had to teach him to stop running, trying to run over people. Like, you're supposed to run around them when you get in space. Like, don't run through them, But that's just the football he likes to play. He's a very intense kid, not a big talker, doesn't talk a lot, but he's very intense and physical, and he's a physical runner. That's kind of what I've seen from him grow this year is his top end speed. You watch him a lot last year. He got caught. He wasn't that. He would break, but he would get caught. And we talked about that, and he's really worked on that with his speed training. He ran track, played baseball and ran track, and was on our sprint relay. And I think that's where we're going to see his yardage go even up, because when he does break, it's going to be hard to catch him this year. Last year we had a couple times, I'm stopping his highlight film because he's getting caught from behind. Not in a bad way, kid's got an angle on him, but I think this year that's where, for me, I think he's going to kind of explode, and hopefully we keep him healthy. Obviously the other expectation is to play defense. We're a 4A football team. We have to have, like last year, I kind of wholesale gave them. Damian said he's a sophomore. He's going to be his first year playing full-time running back. Let's leave him over there. He did play some defense for us at times when we kind of needed an athlete to go in and play man, or to help us blitz, or just different things. I would kind of use them as packages, but we're looking for him to play some safety for us this year, because he does have really good ball skills. That's the other thing about him, man. He can catch the ball. He's probably one of our, if you put him out there in 7-on-7, he's one of our best receivers. And that for a running back, and that's big to have hands like that. So he's going to be playing some defense for us. That's the other expectation I have for him, is to be able to go both ways and not back down from going both ways. I don't want to be in a game where we're playing for a district championship or just any game we're playing that's big, and we're down in the fourth quarter and my best player is standing right next to me. It just, to me as a coach, doesn't make any sense at this level. I've been at places at 5A where we played both ways too. Those kids did, but especially at our level, we've kind of sold that to our kids that we're going to be playing both ways. And so they bought into it. They enjoy it. They want it. That's how we practice. So those are kind of the two things I'm looking for him, is to just be able to play a lot more defense for us, and then have that breakaway speed this year that kind of sometimes he eluded him last year.
Absolutely. And next podcast, Coach, we're definitely going to be talking about the defense. And I'd like to talk to you about the offensive line and what's coming back for this running back, because you get that offense going, and you get that passing game going, man. Tuloso-Midway is going to be dangerous. And I've read stats on him, but I'm really excited about going out to the game now and being able to see Damian Figueroa run the ball. Like I said, I think he's one of the best ones in the coastal bend, South Texas. And this kid's only going to be a junior. What he's done as a sophomore, and what he's got 2 more years left, by the time his career ends, man, he could be the best one in this area. Coach, let's talk a little bit about your schedule and your non-district. So, the non-district, obviously you have 6 games. It'll prepare you for what I think will be a tough district. I don't know too much about the Valley teams just yet, but you do have Cal Allen in that district. What do you want to see from your team through these 6 games in non-district before you hit the district play?
I really want to challenge us this year. Me and Coach O'Neill, talked when we were making the schedule. I felt like last year, we didn't have too much hard pre-district, in my opinion. And I know we're still trying as a program to build wins. I think winning's taught. We have to learn how to win and start to have some confidence. And I think we're at that point now where we have to start playing some tough teams. I really wanted to play Alice. That was one of my teams. I like playing Alice. I think Alice has great kids, a great community. They always have a great atmosphere when you play Alice. So you always get that. And then Coach Castellano and Coach Cox, I think they do a really good job what they came in, their offense they run and defense they run. They're very sound. You know what you're going to get. So for us, that's a measure game. I want to see where we're at against one of the better teams in the whole area last year. They did a good job, made a long run. So that was a big game that I really wanted to play. So I'm glad we got them on the non-district. We're playing London. We have Moody and Ray to start the season. We played them last year. Always tough. Coach Johnson does a great job over at Moody on defense. He's one of my real good buddies, and we talk all the time. And just that's not that week whenever we're playing each other. And then we go to London, and that was a good game for us to get because they have really good athletes there. Always spread the ball around, throw it. Kind of similar to a team in our district like Zapata. So like I always want to try to schedule teams that we're going to see that kind of stuff, in our district, and so Coach Moreno does an awesome job there. They've been a playoff team and the growth they've had there. And so I'm excited about playing them. That'll be on a Thursday night TV game. That'll be one of the Thursday night TV games. So that'll be exciting for our kids to experience that again. And then we're also playing Carroll, who's tough. They're growing. They really remind me of the kind of vets numbers that we had back in, when I was first at Vets. Just they're gonna go two platoon, and so our kids have to be prepared for that. We might play a team in the playoffs. Hope we get in the playoffs, or somebody that's going one way, and they're gonna be fresh. When you do that, you get in that fourth quarter, you kind of wear people down. Those, even though you might be more talented than them, or vice versa. When you get that fourth quarter, and kids have only been playing one way, and your kids have been playing both ways, you kind of have to grow up a little bit, be a little tough. And so I really want, I coach Tommy Garcia, Coach Nevin. Coach Garcia was with me at Vets, and so I've known him a long time, and I really was excited to play them too and get them on the schedule. So I think the schedule is going to prepare us for making the playoffs. Number one, it's our first goal, right? Make the playoffs. The second goal is to win a district championship, and then our third goal is to win the first playoff game ever in the history of Tuloso-Midway. And I think our pre-district is going to prepare us for our district, first of all, to get that first goal, and then also prepare us for the playoffs. We match up with a really tough district that first round. I mean, even if we get first, I mean, you're looking at 5 teams over there that won at least one playoff game apiece, so and one of them we played last year. So obviously our kids really want to play those type of teams. Last year, if you look at our schedule, we're undefeated going into Alice, and Alice is our first real big test, where we showed up and it's okay, these guys are bigger than us, they're a little bit faster than us. And I think our kids kind of I'll admit, I think our kids kind of shut it down once they kind of got shell shocked. And you watch the film, and it's just little things that we just messed up on, that defensively that kind of hurt us. But I think it was a big game, probably the first big game a lot of these kids have ever been in, in the community where we were a packed house, they were packed. It was that home game. And then you see us play Cal Allen, the next big game, and we kind of grew from the Alice game. We were it was a tight game. I think it was almost 3-0 going into the fourth quarter. I mean, it was tough. It was a tough game for us. We were in it. Same thing with the Lavernia game. It's 7-0 going to half, and they returned the opening kickoff. It should have been, obviously they did a good job on kickoff, but it could have been a 0-0 game at half. So that just tells you how we grew playing tough teams, and we're growing from that. And so that's what I want to do with this 2024 team, is kind of prepare them for the big games, the Cal Allen and the Zapata district games, and and then going into playoffs.
Now, Coach, in the last couple of years, I remember when Tuloso-Midway came over to Rockport. And Rockport's offense was good. They were scoring a lot of points. That first half with TM was tough. That TM defense was tough. The offense is where TM wasn't really, able to gain any ground, and why Rockport beat them, I felt. But that defense for TM the last couple of years has been legit. It's been good every year. And now you're starting to see that offense come to mind. So to me, I definitely understand what you're saying. In that Alice game, then you go to Cal Allen. I think you lost 17-0, right, against Cal Allen. You're right there in the game the whole time. And so when I looked at that score, I said, well, wait a minute here. And we got a panel here on the Gridiron where we talk back and forth. Even when we're not on podcasting, we're talking, and people get excited about Tuloso-Midway. And I remember last year, some of the panel, you better watch out for TM, better watch out for TM. They're coming. You better watch out. Some of the guys that we have really follow a lot of South Texas football, and definitely you can see that coming. So I think, again, it's going to be great. That non-district is going to prepare you for the district, which Cal Allen is there. But you also got some Valley teams, Coach. So what do you know about these teams? I mean, I know pretty familiar with Cal Allen, but what do you know about the Valley teams?
Well, I know Zapata. We played Zapata last year. They're in our district, and they're tough. Zapata's always got some really good athletes, really good track teams they put out back in years past, and speedsters. I know last year the last couple of years they were a full spread team. That's all they did. They air it out. And so they had a really good. I think their quarterback's coming back. I think he was the offensive MVP of the district last year. So he's back. But I know they have a new coaching staff. So not sure right yet what they're going to be in. We'll find that out when we start looking on. Us coaches, we kind of scour the internet whenever we play people, just to kind of see like new stuff that they're doing, and what offense are you running now, what defense are they running now. So it'll be interesting to see what they do, but they're always tough. They play people tough. Their kids are always come out and aren't going to lay down. So it's always dangerous going there, but they're actually coming to us this year, so that'll be a good deal. Hidalgo, They also had a new coach. I think, honestly, every school in our district has a brand new coach, which except for Far Valley View, I believe. So, Coach Reeve, me, Cal and me, and then Zapata has a new head coach, and Hidalgo has a brand new head coach. So it's kind of crazy. All of us are kind of be new to the district and getting to know each other still. But I don't know much about Far Valley View. I really haven't looked into them. I'm really focused on number one, Moody, our first game, and then just kind of preparing our kids for, we got Ingleside and then Sinton for our scrimmages. So for sure want to just talk about those teams to our kids, but ultimately Moody, is our week one that we're kind of all focused on.
And Moody, people don't talk about. They got a running back out there, Coach. A lot of people ain't talking
Yeah.
about it, but he's a
No.
little stud. I watched some of his stuff.
He's definitely a slot T fullback, man. He can get it, and they run that trap and they do a good job of running that offense, and Coach Johnson does a great job on defense. So it's a good game for us to see that kind of offense. You always want to see some slot T. There's some guys that don't enjoy it, but I love slot T. I think it's a great offense that for a defensive guy, it's awesome. You want to limit possessions, and you watch kind of Liberty Hill run that thing. It's amazing to watch. So, we're focused on them, but again, we still have to look at Ingleside. We still have to look at the Sinton next week, because it's a competition, and that's kind of what we're trying to teach our kids. I think that's where TM's kind of that competitive edge, always trying to have that competitive edge, always thinking that you can win no matter what. The really good places I've been, the teams I've been a part of, and probably this too. Like when those teams walk out there and just have confidence, that means a lot, and that's what I've tried to bring to these kids is having the confidence. One of our sayings this year, I don't know, I was driving to work one day and I popped in my head. I saw it somewhere. And you'll hear us break it out. I'll say, why not me? And then the kids will echo, why not us? And why we say that is, I tell the kids, like, why can't TM be a district championship, champion? Why can't we go win a playoff game? Well, first of all, you have to have that inner confidence as a player, that you're a winner, that you can do it. So that's where the why not me comes in. And then why not us as a team, go out and win a district championship, and go out and win a playoff game and be one of the top programs. If you look at the area, our facilities are starting to be some of the best facilities.
Mm-hmm.
And when that happens, man, your team has to follow along. That's our goal, is to be one of the premier, not only football programs, but I'm talking about all around athletic departments and high schools. We just passed the bond for a brand new CTE building that's going to be state of the art. Our natatorium is going to be state of the art, brand new. We just got the baseball, softball. We got 22nd, I think, in the whole state in the Lone Star Cup, and that entails academics and the arts and band. I mean, that's everything. So that's really what the vision of Mr. Van Maytree and me have, is to be one of the premier high schools around here. And so that's where and you see our kids when we break out for games. It's why not me, and then they echo why not us. So it's kind of special to us this year. That's kind of our slogan.
Yeah, and same, big things are coming for TM. And Coach, even on this side, I live in Rockport, but I'm telling you, we see here what's going on in TM. When I talked to my crew, and he said, hey, what's the next school we want to go after? TM is something we got to go out there. And it just so happens that I ran into you guys 7-on-7. That was the opportunity. But we're really excited about talking and being able to bring to the community and surrounding us everything that's going on over there in TM, and with their players. And the baseball team has been great for the last couple of years. Softball has always been really good and competitive out there. So definitely looking to continue what we do here with you, with the rest of the coaches in the other sports. Coach, my son, played football, loved football. He was a baseball guy when he was young. In the fourth grade, his mama decided, we'll let him play football. And he never touched a baseball again. And he used to tell me, when we talked, I said, there's a big difference there between going into a game thinking you're going to win and knowing you're going to win. And that's the difference. And when you talked about that is the difference. I think I got a chance to win. I think we're going to win versus I'm going onto that field knowing I'm going to win. Makes all the difference in the world. And I always remembered when he told me that. So definitely understand what you're saying there, Coach. Let's talk a little bit about the upcoming scrimmage the TM will have at home at 6:30, I believe, is the time against Ingleside. First scrimmage, coach. There's always a lot of mistakes. Obviously, you want to see what's going on. First time getting the pads on and hitting another team. But what are you expecting? What do you want to see from the TM Warriors in Friday scrimmage versus Ingleside?
Number one thing I'd like to see, and I've been preaching our team, is compete. That was kind of our off-season deal is compete, man. Like, that's what makes winners when people are just, are competitors and they're grit, they have grit and toughness. Like, that's kind of what I hang our hat on defensively that I've done for a long time. And that's kind of what I'm trying to bring. I said I want to put my own. I love Coach O'Neill, and he did an awesome job here turning this thing around. But I also have to put my own kind of stamp on the program. We're not going to do everything exactly the same we used to. And the main thing is being a very defensive minded, running the football, being tough kind of team, and that's kind of what I want to bring. And so, Friday I obviously want to be injury free. We're going to play a lot of base defense. We're not going in. We don't go to scrimmages to try to win a scrimmage. Yeah, at the end of the day, do you want to score more than they do? Yeah. Do you want to hold them to not score? Yes. But I wanted to scrimmage good people too. Like Ingleside, they're a really good football team, a really good program. They deep playoff run, have athletes. They have some good looking kids, and so we want to scrimmage those teams so that we can see where we're at. It's again a measuring stick. You don't know. That team we had last year is gone. Their legacy's gone. And now it's time for us to turn the page on this team. Like, what do we have? And I tell the kids all the time, what they did last year doesn't matter to us. That's great. It's in the history books, whatever. But for us, it's what are we going to do and how do we play? What kind of DBs do we have? What kind of receivers do we have? So linemen, D-line, O-line. So we have to find that out. And by scrimmaging good people, Ingleside and Fenton, two of the better teams, than 482 around the whole area, and so it'll be a challenge for us. Coach Hawks does an awesome job. I worked with Coach Hawks, the defensive coordinator there. I worked with Coach Hawks for years. I learned a lot from him. He was the defensive coordinator there at Vets when I first got there. So me and him have a good relationship. It'll be exciting to see him, come and come back to TM. And he was here for a while before I got here too, part of the, another part of it. And so that'll be exciting, seeing people. And also one of their linebacker Coach Pena, I actually was when he was a defensive coordinator at Ingleside, I was a D-line coach there for him. So I coached under him too. So two of my former defensive coordinators, and I've taken something from every coordinator I've ever worked under. So they're a part of my growth. I give them part of the type of coach I am. So that'll be exciting to see them, and again, just to have a quality opponent to scrimmage, man, and get after it. You get tired of beating up on, especially us that don't do spring ball. You get tired of beating up on each other, doing the inter squad scrimmage and every day doing inside run and team against our good on good. We want to go beat up on somebody else and compete. So that's kind of what I'm looking for, man. I just want to compete. It's going to be at home. It'll be exciting. There's some buzz around Tuloso-Midway for football now, which is awesome.
And you know what? We're going to do our part, Coach, this year, not only for football, but I know I talked to Coach Bella. Hopefully we'll be out there for baseball. But when I can get out there for basketball, softball, any other sports, anything that's going on, definitely we want to keep the buzz going, right? We want to be able to talk about all the athletes that are there. And Coach, still today, right? Defense wins championships, right? They say it for a reason. Defense wins championships. So hearing you, talk about the defense, that's where it starts, man. You got to be able to stop offenses, because they're going to be able to stop you. So if you can't stop anybody, probably not going to win a lot of games. So absolutely, I understand what you're saying. Defense wins championships, and you have to have a good defense to be able to compete. Give yourself a chance to win a district title and then make a deep playoff run. Coach, let's talk about the other levels here outside of varsity. You got a JV, I believe, freshman in middle school. What can you tell us as we start this podcast? What are we going to have from those players and programs at that level?
Yeah, so obviously the biggest thing we want is numbers. We had about almost 50 freshmen come in fall camp, which is pretty good for a 4A. And there's still some that we're trying to take. They in South Texas, you really fight with, the baseball deal. A lot of kids want a straight baseball. And, as an athletic director, I've really tried to preach multi-sport. And the way we format our multi-sport, I kind of learned this from Coach Semper when I was at Vets, because we had a lot of baseball, football kids. One of my favorite football players I've ever coached, Dalen Pena. He's just signed to play at Oregon. NIL. I mean, was an amazing baseball player, and he played 4 years of football for me at defensive end, and was probably one of our better players too. And he just loved it. So when you learn to work with those kind of kids, I've had parent meetings already, and big parent meetings for the whole program, and talking about that we will be multi-sport, and we're going to encourage kids to play multiple sports. My head coaches, so my head basketball coach is a freshman coach. My head baseball coach, Coach Moody, is a freshman coach. Our head girls basketball coach, Coach Bueno, is a freshman coach. And then we have Coach Galvan, who's also a freshman coach. So those are the four I left off earlier. So that's my freshman staff. And so that's awesome to have our basketball and our baseball coach and our staff, our freshman staff. So those kids get to know them, and they know we're not just going to show up and just play. Now, there are some kids that just do, but we're trying to encourage them that if they played football in 8th grade, like, we want you to play, So that's our big thing right now with the freshmen, is to get numbers and just have consistency for them, because freshmen can be kind of squirrely. They're new to high school, and they don't know our culture, and they don't know all the things we do. So just trying to get numbers in the freshman group, and we have some really good athletes that we're excited about in that freshman group. So it'll be exciting to see them Friday kind of put it together. Those guys do an amazing job every morning with those guys. So I'm excited about that. And then our JV, I have a lot of love for our JV, because our JV is our scout team. And you talk to any coach that's worth anything, that you have to take care of your scout team. Your scout team is what wins you games, because they're going to give you the look that you really need, to win, to beat people. They're giving you the look week in and week out, running the offense's defense, and the other team's offense. And I love on those guys a lot, because it is hard to do that. If anybody's ever been a scout team player, they know it's hard. It's not easy, and that's not an easy deal to get up every morning and go play scout team against the varsity defense or the varsity offense. It's hard. So we love on those guys a lot. We'll do some things this year. We'll have a scout team player of the week and give them awards and just keep them motivated. And then obviously Thursday nights is their fun time. That's when they get to go out and play, and everybody gets our JV is a developmental deal. Everybody will play at that level, freshmen too. We're trying to, if we feel like you're on JV, it's because you're not developed enough technically or physically to be on the field Friday night, and eventually you will be. I've had so many kids, be a starter all year on JV, and then the next year they're your guy in varsity, or even have start all year on JV and then get picked up at the end of the year and they're starting on your offense or defense. So you got to love on those guys a lot, because it is a tough deal. That's kind of our deal, is preaching to be a great scout team player, that's your role for right now, and then to have fun on Thursday nights, And then with our junior high, and then they get started here soon. Coach Barretta does an awesome job he's our coordinator down there. And we're excited about what they're growing. We're actually building a new junior high soon. That was part of our bond. And so, like, first time I got here, they didn't even have a practice field. They practiced in the park that's right there next to the school, like in a field. And we're lucky to have it numbered and marked. So I mean, those kind of things that TM hasn't had, and, that's what affects the football program. And then now you go down to our youth. We got the new TMYFL that we started. It was started 2 years ago, and they do an awesome job. And that's kind of, to me, what's going to pump the blood into the TM football program. Having that vertical alignment from the time they're little and growing up to be wannabe warriors. And this, you look at Rockport and Sinton and all these towns that have always been historically good. They have great youth programs, great youth football. Gregory Portland, Cal Allen, all of them, great youth football. So, and now our kids are in that, and they're growing up wanting to be warriors. And I think that's going to be the big difference in the future. Me as an athletic director, I have to look, future. That to me is going to take us to the next level. When those kids start to come up through our programs, and they want to be warriors in 5th and 6th grade and 3rd and 4th grade, and that continues to grow. And like, again, one of my big deals when I got here was to keep TM kids in TM. We have to keep our kids here. The whole transferring thing, it's here. It's reality. We coaches, we know it. We can't do anything about it. But if we can keep our TM kids in TM, I think we have a chance, man, to be competitive with anybody.
Absolutely, coach. And I definitely understand. You've seen a lot of that, kids going here, going there, some advantages for some schools, some disadvantages for others, but definitely excited, coach. First time I've ever talked to you. And I really enjoy what you're saying here. You're saying all the right things, right? Defensively, players. I'm sure the community is very excited. I mean, I've just had maybe almost an hour talking to you, and I'm excited to get back next week and talk more football with you. So I can just imagine how your superintendent and your coaches and the community, how excited they are to have you leading not only their football program, but their athletic program. And coach, is going to come on every Wednesday at 3 o'clock. We'll record it, and then it'll be up on Thursday morning. But we're going to be talking football. And again, they have the scrimmage at home, 6:30 on Friday. So Warrior fans, come on out and see what the hype is all about, right? Because it's going to be a good year for the Tuloso-Midway Warriors. I will be out there, Coach. You will see me with recording. I'm not going to go live. I don't think that's the right thing to do because you don't want to give anybody else an advantage for week one. But what I do want to do is just kind of record it, and I want to let you know because somebody might see and say, "Hey, this guy's recording it." I will record it, but it'll be just for me and the guys. We want to take a look at the film, get some stuff out of it for next week's podcast. But Coach will be out here, excited about the future. We're going to be here talking more football here as the season progresses. Coach, I'll give you the final thought before I let you go. Anything you want to add before we call it a day?
Yeah, I just want to bring up our scrimmage is going to be an Our Day to Shine scrimmage. That's for the Texas High School Coach Association Benevolence Fund. What that benevolence fund is it's a fund that helps any hardships for coaches and families. We're at coaching school this year, and Coach Ruben Garcia, a really good friend of mine, who's the head coach at Kingsville, he got up in front of our entire region. So we're considered Region 7 here in Corpus, and we actually had a tragedy last year before our Kingsville game. One of their coaches passed away, on site. It was a very, very sad deal, man. Crazy. I don't think I'll ever forget it because it's right in front of you on a Friday night, and we played the game the next day. But so that benevolence fund, as a coaches association member, you're able to file for that for the family, and that money is sent to that family to pay for funeral costs or whatever it is they need, and he did that for his coach's family, and they were able to receive funds. And we did one of those last year with Corpus Christi Carroll. So all those funds, we send them back to the benevolence fund, and I think they've given out over $700,000 to that fund. And so it's a time for communities, both communities, and I'm going to send the graphic to Coach Chrisman about it. We posted one on our social media that we're going to be doing it, and it's just donations at the door, cash donations. We'll have a bucket, drop it in there, and we'll be able to send that money to the fund, and you can help out a coach's family. Or a coach or a kid, even, we've given it to kids that have been injured and all kinds of stuff. So it's an awesome deal, and you kind of really never know when it's going to hit you, and so as a coaches, you sacrifice a lot with your family. So it's just a way for the Coach Association to give back. So I just encourage everybody to please just bring cash, whatever you can, and we'll have a bucket going around the stands too. Usually we do the door, and then we'll kind of go through our announcer, make an announcement about it. But I just encourage people to bring some cash for that, and it's a really good cause. It's going to a great organization. You're not just giving money to somebody that's never going to see it. Like, this money means something to people. So that's kind of it. But thank you for this, man. I appreciate it. This is awesome. I'm excited about doing this. I love talking ball. Anytime you give me my wife, ask my wife, she has to cut me off a lot because I'll just keep talking football. That's what I love to do. It's why I do what I do. So, but I appreciate you having me on and highlighting the Warrior football. They deserve it. The community deserves it, and we're excited.
Absolutely, Coach. And I'll be at the game, so I'll definitely make sure to bring some cash, and I'll find that bucket, and you'll get something from the Gridiron 64. Anything we can do to help, Coach. The other thing is, where can I get merchandise? Because when I come on here, I got to be able to be like you. I got to have the TM gear. I got to buy Ingleside stuff. I already got Rockport stuff, but I got to find some Tuloso-Midway when I go and come. Where can I get it, Coach?
Yeah, our booster club has it. If you ever come by my office, man. If you come, I'll give you some swag for sure, man. I'll be excited for you to have some team gear and wear it on the show.
Absolutely, Coach, because I need that. I'm looking at you and looking at me and saying, man, how's this guy going to be talking about Warriors? And looking at me, he's not even dressed up. So definitely, I'll stop by there, Coach. And again, the scrimmage is at Tuloso-Midway. It's going to be a great year. Looking forward to having Coach Villarreal. The Coach V podcast, weekly podcast. So every Wednesday throughout the football season, Coach is going to join me here, and then it'll be uploaded. It'll be going into our social media platforms. That's on our Twitter page, Gridiron Twitter page, Gridiron Facebook page. Our YouTube channel is what we're really trying to promote. So all Warrior fans, anything that has to do with the Tuloso-Midway, we'll have it there. Definitely go in there. If you like the podcast, become a subscriber. Help us pick it up there. The Gridiron 64 is where you can get it. And Coach, if everything goes good, we'll set up our own little Tuloso-Midway Warrior YouTube channel, and we'll go from there. That is the goal. That's
awesome.
what we're trying to work on. Yeah. So for right now, definitely go to the Gridiron 64. That's where you can catch all of the podcasts. Any of the games that will be streamed, they'll be streamed on there or on the Gridiron 64 Facebook page. Coach, thank you very much. Good luck at the scrimmage, and I'll be there, and I'll talk to you next Wednesday.
Awesome. Thank you, man. Thank you for this. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Bye-bye.